Join us for our second season of Different Perspectives, powered by the Jennifer Experience. Dive into fresh, thought-provoking discussions that challenge the status quo. Whether it's culture, church, politics, or the latest trends, we bring you a unique angle on the topics that matter. Tune in, expand your mind, and see the world from a whole new perspective. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for joining us again as we continue our amazing discussion with the awesome and incredible Miss Tam Lawler.
Of course.
I was having a hard time finding a realtor to help me because I had a lot of people willing to fund my idea. But I was having a hard time for realtors to help me go look for it so that I can put it in a plan and then present it to the board, because I was on the board at Azo Way. I was on the board at Kids Can Fly Foundation, and I had started my own nonprofit, which was Mending Hearts One by One.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were going to help me get all these things done, but I couldn't find a realtor to help me look. And I get it. As a realtor, when you out searching, you like, there's got to be a payday for this. But see, that comes to determination and long term, because I know the importance. I'm loyal by a fault. Sometimes it's to my detriment that I'm loyal. You know how you stay somewhere? Yep. Okay. So I definitely wouldn't have had a realtor looking and not make sure that that's the realtor that I go back to when it's time to buy.
Right.
But I was having a problem. So I was like, I'm going to just get my license and then look for the space myself. I didn't come in like, oh, I'm about to be a realtor. That was not what I was thinking. I only came in to get the information, to get my building, to open up this emergency shelter foster group home.
Okay. One plan.
Yeah. And I guess God had different ones, because I went through I called my sister and I said, hey, I need you to come stay with the kids for a couple weeks. I'm going to go to this real estate school. You got to take a test. I think it's like maybe 4 to 6 weeks or something, or 2 weeks. And then I got to study for 2 weeks. And then, I should kind of know something. So my sister said, okay, the benefit of being the youngest. My sister was like, sure, I'll come down and stay for a month and a half. So toward the end of 2014, and she came down and she stayed, and I went to class and did the training, and they talked about how the test was, and it's, 3 hours, 4 hours, 4 hours. Oftentimes people have to come back and take, like, you have the national part and the state part. Very seldom do you pass both. So you just prepare, practice, study. And then you take the test. And when you find out which part you failed, then you go back and try to take it within a certain amount of time. So did all that. I started the class in October. I took the exam in November, right at Thanksgiving. And so I sat there for 4 hours, all 3 hours and 56 minutes.
Oh, God. Okay.
And so I go in, because you can't have anything. You get up, you go in there, and you give them your exam and the proxy, and they put it through. And she looked at me and said, you passed. But you can't yell. You talk about the most quietest celebration until I got out the door.
I would have screamed.
So, I did that one shout.
Yep.
The one the words on. Yep. And so I got out there and I had passed on the first try. And nothing but God, because I am a C student. You understand me?
Listen.
I have to
tell you
study.
that student I am. Go ahead.
I have to study for my good B and C, okay? So, and it took off. I mean, when I say it took off, it's so funny how life happens because I didn't know. First of all, I know the first thing about sales. I don't even like sales. I don't even like salespeople. No, I don't. So,
Are you sure about that?
I'm positive. So I'm like, oh my God, I got my license. I don't know what to do. And my hairdresser say, I'm gonna introduce you to my realtor. And her name was Pam, Gossett, Caucasian, and Pam had to be about 56 then. Yes, and had been in the business for years. And so I talked to Pam, and Pam was like an absolute lifesaver. She sent me my first client, and I still talk to them today, nonetheless.
Okay.
And I mean, coming in at night in 2014.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my first client was buying a house for $400,000. I mean, that's when you can get a house over in Craig Ranch for a good 230.
30,000 was a lot then.
Yes. So that was my first one. And I was living in a rental house. And I had decided to close my foster group home. Mm-hmm. My children were upset. Like there was some things, some of them was very upset. Like it was heartbreaking for some. That, I mean, they were acting out that it was bad. But I mean, I had to do what was best. So right. They was putting the house that I was in up for sale because I was leasing it. And an agent came in, and she was of Asian descent. She came in, she showed the house or whatever. And, you got to leave so they can come in and show it. She showed the house, no big deal. And then a day later, she reached out to me because I told her I just got my realtor license. Oh, I'm a new agent. Because they say don't be a secret agent. Right. I was a secret agent. But so I told her, I understood what the formalities were because I was an agent now. She was like, oh, okay. She didn't say anything, just okay. Showed her clients and she left. I got a call about maybe a day later. This agent called me and told me she had some clients coming in from Colorado and wanted to show them homes. They were looking for homes at between $400,000 and $500,000. And she wanted to know if I could show them homes because she was busy and couldn't. Of course. So I'm like, I'll practice on them, sure. So I prepare my whole weekend and the homes for them. And so typically when an agent do that, they'll give you a couple of dollars for showing fee, maybe $25 for each house you show them or something. So, I mean, because that was the only money I was going to make. And please believe
just
me.
$25?
Yes. Back then, 2014. And then keep in mind, people think that fostering was lucrative. I spent my savings fostering. Because when you're taking care of 7 children and you're buying, I don't ever want to look better than my children when we're out. These kids come with garbage. Yes. And then every holiday, I wanted them to feel, and every foster child of mine or bonus child had a cell phone if they behaved accordingly. Each one played sports. We know sports in Frisco ISD are not cheap. Yep. And they had friends and they had sleepovers.
Yep. Please don't think the state gives them anything because they don't.
No, because I was expected to feed and clothe these children on $50 a day.
The lies they tell.
Some of them was even like, depending on the severity of their status, was like $38 a day. So, all that to say, it wasn't like I was rolling in any kind of dough, because when you have children that require that type of attention, You can't go to work. We had appointments at 7 children. We had therapy appointments once a week, doctor's appointments every quarter. I mean, just it's a lot. And then I had to do paperwork every week on each child as to what their behaviors were, so it's a job. It's not like, oh, you wake up and, oh, I'm a foster mom. Oh, I get a lot of money. No, that's not it. But anyway.
Right.
So that's how I became a realtor. So she asked me to show her clients. I showed her clients all that weekend, and I reported back to her that, this is what they like. Here's what they looked at, and on to the next. And then that Monday, she called me back and she said, my clients liked you so much that they would like for you to be their realtor. All you just give me is a referral fee. That was my second set of clients, and it just took off from there. My first year, I had like 10 clients.
Accidental?
I guess yes, accidental, but by personality.
Yes.
Yep.
Miss, I don't like sales.
Well, and I still don't. And I don't sell people homes. I help educate and guide them to buying them. And
she doesn't sell people homes. I can't even repeat it. You say it. She doesn't sell people homes. What do you do, Tam? You what?
I educate and guide them through the transaction and process.
That sounds like selling.
So as a former client, how do you feel like the process went?
You assisted us in selling our home.
There you go. I assisted and I guided you. I just provided you.
Well, no, let's be very clear. There would have been no sale without you. So let's be very clear. You made the sale.
I give recommendations. Now it's on you to follow because you all were good clients.
You gave instructions.
Okay.
You want to be, see, don't ask me as the client because I'm going to tell the truth. You gave very detailed instructions on what we were supposed to do to make sure that the property sold.
Highly recommendations and suggestions.
She gave instructions on what we needed to do to make sure that the property was sold, especially for the price that we wanted it to sell at. And she gave us do's and don'ts.
And that goes two ways because you were willing to take my advice.
Absolutely.
And then I was willing to provide you that advice, which is very important. Absolutely. You did not come pretending or being the know-it-all in the profession that I continue to get educated in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There was very much trust in this relationship. There's also patience on her part.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely. Because my wife was not as quick as I was to offload the property. So while I did the groundwork, Tam was absolutely patient in coming along, but I feel like her patience paid off in the end.
Very much so.
Because definitely we were indeed faithful clients and will continue to be. Now, let me ask you, what do you think is, because I want to ask like entrepreneur questions,
okay. Yeah,
business owner questions.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think is your business deal that you're most proud of thus far? Like what's the house that you could say like I did that.
Ooh.
Like that house was not, I that house could have easily not been sold, but I did that. For me not to like sales, I did that.
I think I feel like that for like any one of them that sells, but it also takes your client to trust you and trust the process.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when a client try to take over the transaction? it gets the boggle, and now you're fighting each other instead of dealing with the people, because that's like me trying to host and I'm not a host, and then it goes left because there, the structure in which what your audience want. So I can't take over your position and try to do your job when I'm not doing mine. As a seller, your job is to prepare the house, not tell me how to prepare it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So to me, it doesn't get any easier then. So I can't say that to answer your question. It's a lot. I've been doing this for almost 10 years now. So because I got licensed at the end of 2014 during Christmas season. And most agents know that's our shutdown time. Like, you working, but you really just kind of fine-toothing your business, getting your models and everything. You're not really busy. Right. You may have one or two customers, but so with this coming up, with this being like my 10th year, and I'm going to have something. So with that being the 10th year, I probably have so many stories, but it's the ones where my clients were receptive, loyal, because this is a very disloyal, I don't want to say community, but profession. Because people think that they can will and deal in a transaction and make it easy.
Right.
But we don't hold you don't go to your doctor asking him what's the discount? And then I'm going to tell you what's wrong with me to a degree.
Right.
Because you go to him for his assessment of what it is. Now, I'm not saying the doctors haven't got it wrong and you don't disagree, but your initial take when you went was to get the information to determine if that's the person, because not all realtors are created equal, and nor do everybody's personality fit. So you have to find the best person that works for you. But as an entrepreneur, it is work. You have to be able to, there are times when my families knew that I wasn't going to be present. I may be in a room, but we could be at a family gathering or even with my girlfriends hanging out party, but it's a laptop on my lap while I'm trying to write a contract.
Yep.
And negotiate, and it's 9:30. My cell phone may beep at 11:45. Now, as you get into the business and you learn how to navigate those, but as a new agent, your clients call you answering. Most people's like, you act like you a doctor or a lawyer. I am. They are spending their life savings. This is the most large, one of the most lucrative contracts that they will get in. And I feel like I need to be available.
I think we was calling you in like 10 and 11. Yeah.
Well, and then too, that's your work hours. So your work hours now become my work hours. Yeah. When I hear agents be like, "Oh, I don't answer the phone after 6 o'clock." Oh, to each his own. I'm an empty nester. Most of the time, you might get an email from me at 2:30, depending on how late I'm working or not. I just, so to each his own. I get it. But as an entrepreneur, when you build in your business, it is sweat, blood, and tears. I've been in the middle of the sea. Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me? You don't get to, oh, I'm off. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So when you're realtor off, I'm on.
Absolutely. Have you ever had to fire a client?
Yes. 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 And I love family, but those are some of the people I don't work with.
Oh.
And I've had to fire 2 clients. One was a business partner.
Like someone that wasn't family. Like, have you ever had to say?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I had to fire 2. And this person wasn't really family because it was the wife of a family member.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And so, and it was my first listing. Yep.
Oh, and was it difficult?
Of course, because I was excited. It was my very first one. I knew I had done what I was supposed to do, but they wanted to be the buyer, the seller, the buyer's agent, the listing agent, and and I was just like, this is not going to work. And they wanted me to find them a house. I need you to focus on getting this house prepared for me to sell before we go looking for you a house. And that's when I learned
for us. This is not gonna.
And I told her, unfortunately, this working relationship can't continue. And she was kind of confused. And it was hard. It was hard for me to let go because I was like, that's my first listing. And I was like, ready. I had done an open house and everything. And then people don't realize as realtors, there's a lot of stuff we pay for at the beginning. And I mean, that's not to go into like income, but people think you sign in a yard and you get a lot of money. Yay. And it's that easy.
Yeah. No, supplies cost money.
Well, yes. If the house is not right, then you have to be the one to tell your client, hey, this is what you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
And we're responsible. I mean, we're not responsible, but we are if you're a full service agent.
Mm-hmm.
Photos, signage, running those comps, keeping up with the people that's going in and out of the home, any work that has to be done, time framing, if it sells, if it doesn't sell, if, they're doing the things that you suggest, if they don't, if it's priced right, what's the time it's going to be on sale. And don't be a relocation listing agent. Relocation companies pays for nothing. They reimburse you.
And there is a difference between reimbursement and pay.
Yes. So, I mean, it's so many things. And so for entrepreneurship, people think it's just, I want to be stop watching listing sunset, sunrise.
Right.
Oh, your
dollar listing. Are you trying to say that's not an accurate depiction?
For them.
That guy? What's the guy who owns that $1 million company?
I don't know. I don't even watch it no more. And I used to watch all.
It's a guy, he owns a $1 million company. He was on another show and then he went and started his own realty company. And they only do like the highest of the highest.
And where is he located?
In New York.
So there's New York and California. I want us in Texas.
And he is cutthroat.
Oh, so you see how he has to be?
He is cut.
He has to be. I don't know how him and God gonna deal with each other when he gets to the pearly gates. That's between him and his mate.
Well, I mean, he's cutthroat with his agents. Like he does not play. Like
you can't. And it's a learning business because that's how I learned the importance of communicating, knowing your customer. When they tell you that this theory is for real, you have to know what your client prefers. You may prefer text message. I may be, and it's easy for us to be working with 4 or 5 personalities at one time.
Mm-hmm.
You may prefer text message. This client don't want text message. You only want to know when something happened. This client want to know, he or she may want me calling them if nothing happens.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there is a host of, it's just not one-sided or, don't do this or do that. You have to know your client. And people's like, I only work in this area. Well, depending on where that area is, if your investor client is looking for property in Itasca, Texas, then you need to research Itasca, Texas.
Now, okay, so let me ask you this. When you are, as a business owner, when you're hiring out people, because we was talking about this before the show, this is something that I've been researching and looking at, because obviously as entrepreneurs, we have to source out people to do different things.
Mm-hmm.
What do you find is common these days as, I don't want to say problems, but maybe little stumbling blocks that we run into when it comes to hiring freelancers or people who we need to do little things to help make our business run, or essential things to help make our business run? Because obviously you have to get advertisements. Obviously you have to get your signs made. Obviously you have to get all that type of stuff done. So when you're doing that, you have to shop for you somebody to do your graphics, and somebody to do this, somebody to do that. So what's your process with that? Because you have a bunch of options these days. Everybody does graphics, everybody does signs, everybody does t-shirts, everybody does cards. What's your process with that? Because I'm finding that good help is
hard to find.
Yes. Well, dependability.
That's I was gonna say.
Loyalty, timeliness, but also being respectful of other people's time and knowing that time is money, I think is something that people don't understand. Like you because we work together, my schedule. Mm-hmm. So like my schedule is my schedule for a reason. But not only that, like if you set a business meeting with somebody and they don't come,
you honor their time. And so some of these lessons are lessons learned early on. I realized I'm a meat and potatoes kind of person. What I mean by that, spare me all the fuzzy stuff detailed in, but to tell me what's the goal and what are we going to do to get there. And so I just assumed that that's how everybody operates. But of course, in business, you learn that that's different. I think as people, we fail to communicate. I have learned to become an over communicator, depending on the person. At first, I took not communicating because I'm like, there's nothing to tell you. So what I need to call and tell you what? Nothing? Mm-hmm. To, oh, okay, so you need to know nothing happened and that nothing happened. So now I'm going to call you and tell you, I'm going to give you a weekly update of nothing if nothing is happening. Mm-hmm. However, I think communication, and that's just amongst people. People don't communicate. And unfortunately, people don't communicate effectively. There is a difference between talking and listening. And a lot of people talk and don't listen. And so some people think that they're listening, but they're listening to rebuttal, not listening to hear, which is very different.
Right.
So I think what I find in some of it, and unfortunately in our culture, is communication and pricing, where some people really should be pricing at a medium that they feel like they already on a high because that's what everybody else is doing and they have the business. And then we're offended when we go outside of our marketplace or culture to get people to work for us. Because the first thing we say is, I wouldn't do it at that price. But everything starts at the bottom and grows. And I never wanted to be the one to blow up. I wanted to grow up. So if my business, if my customer service is gonna lack because I have too many clients, then I'd rather scale back to maintain the customer service. And to be honest,
exactly,
for the last 8 years, my business was built on referrals. I didn't have to prospect. And it's not a brag. It's just what it was. It was based on word of mouth and repeat and referral business. So I found it very I didn't even know what a pipeline was and sales, because all of my business was referral based, until I had to start building a pipeline and now going into sales and marketing and prospecting and calling people. And I never took the people that I got for referrals as for granted, because I still felt like I had to work for it,
right,
to get it. But oftentimes, some of us as entrepreneurs expect that, oh, because we doing this, they gonna show up, or because they know us, it's gonna, they gonna happen. But when you're dealing with a variety of people and ethnic groups, you start to learn. There was a book I read, Curse. Oh gosh, what was it? Kersey. Kersey Shake Bow.
Okay.
And it was about the different cultures and how they do business. And to be honest, probably the first 5 years of the 10 years, and I kid you not, that I was in business, were all of Indian descent. My customer base were majority Indians.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I'm with you on that. A lot of people don't even know what I really do. And my business is referral business. It's not for any of the things. Now, don't get me wrong. I have multiple businesses running, and people see me advertising different things. I wrote a book. I have a support group for LGBTQ families and parents, and I have a podcast. But the truth of the matter is, I'm a psychology wealth coach for business and entrepreneurs who make 8 figures and above. That is a referral only business, usually, meaning someone who requires me to sign an NDA, who I can't tell you about, told somebody else how I helped them through one of their most difficult times in life. And that's how I get my business. So I can't really talk about that a lot online, but that's literally how, how that business works. And so, that's, when you think about it from that perspective, no matter what people think about that, that's a referral business.
Yes.
And so if I don't do well, whoever my last client is won't, feel like they need to tell someone else about me. Because that's not a business that I really can. Yeah, I mean, I can tell people about it and I can advertise them about it, but most people in some demographics, most people who follow me already won't be my clients. And so we miss that a lot. And I tell the entrepreneurs that I mentor now, most of your followers that you already have aren't your clients.
It took me some time, and that's funny because I was not a big social media person prior to COVID, because that's not where my business came from. And then I'm sure as an entrepreneur and being socially involved, that for certain generations and some people, if you're not on social media, you don't exist.
Yeah. If it's certain demographics, because here's the thing, something else that people don't know. Certain people in certain income brackets really don't exist on social media. That's someone posting a profile and posting things for them.
Yes. And
okay,
ding, ding.
Like people, for instance, Magic Johnson is not really on social media.
No.
Someone has authorized someone to create a profile for him, and they make posts of what he's doing so that we can see and interact and feel like we're being engaged with him. Not saying that there's anything fraudulent about that, but I'm just saying most people in certain demographics don't have a social media. So the people that you see that's really flashing and really doing like a whole bunch of stuff.
Because I couldn't understand how did they have time to do it.
I think.
Because I was struggling trying to.
I mean, I pay somebody now to post my social media posts because I don't have time. And then much less to post and then scroll down and see
what people are.
Like, I don't, I mean, and then honestly, you'll be disturbed at what people actually have time to sit and talk about.
Yes.
It's like that's the object of our attention.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I mean, I understand what you're saying on that. I just, like I said, as an entrepreneur, there's a lot of things that you do in referral. When your business is by referral,
mm-hmm.
That's my next question. How important is it the rule of doing good business? Because that's another thing that I tell my people. If I refer you to somebody, please do good business. Please do good business.
And I think we have a duty to, I don't like when people like, oh, I told such and so something and I was keeping it real. Keeping it real does not mean disrespectful.
Yes.
Because you can tell somebody, hey, can I give you some constructive criticism? Which is how I learned to become a better communicator. Because again, at the beginning, I'm like, if I ain't got nothing to tell you, ain't no need for me to call you. When I call you, I got some information. When my name and number show up on your caller ID, oh, Tam got something to say or tell me. Otherwise, your girlfriend is there to shoot the stuff with you.
Yeah.
You call her. That's what y'all do. I got information for you. So a friend of mine told me and they was a client and they was a friend. And it was my bestie, as a matter of fact. And she said, can I tell you something, friend? I said, yeah. She said, I felt like you didn't keep me informed. I was like, well, what? That there was nothing out there? She was like, but I didn't know that. And I was like, really? But I appreciate her telling me. So she was the reason that I communicated. Now, what I do find happen is people will take us culturally for granted because we're in the circle. If you're looking for space and you say, hey, Tam, I'm looking for space. And I'm like, okay, great. Reaching out, calling. Oh, I'm on vacation. Oh, I got something to do. Oh, I'm not doing this. Oh, I'll get to it later. Okay. Well, just let me know when you're ready. And then you decide you're ready. And we all know how electronically things set up. If you opt into something, you'll get the constant notifications. If you opt out, you have a responsibility to go back and say, I'm opting back in. So when you reach out and decide, hey, I'm finally ready, and I'm sending you things and you're not getting them, you don't think there's a duty for you to call and say, hey, I'm not getting the emails that you're saying that you sent, or I haven't seen anything in a matter of days or whatever. Oh, you need to opt in. Then you don't opt in. Oh, she didn't follow up. No, do your part.
Yeah.
And then you were consistent with this person, but you wasn't consistent or considerate of me because I'm your home girl, or you know me outside of being a realtor, because I'm the same person here on this side and on this side. It is you that wasn't consistent in being the person that you were when taking care of business and not.
Right. Yeah, people can't get you. I mean, at the end of the day, and I think we also talked about that too earlier. If I hire you to do a job, you have not hired me as your therapist.
Yes. You asked me to sell your house. You didn't ask me to counsel the product.
do not expect me to treat you like you are my client and I am your no. I hired you to do something. Whatever it is, whether it's to clean, whether it's to cook, whether it's to do whatever. I hired you to do, wash my car or something. So you cannot expect me and then to hold you accountable. Me holding you accountable has nothing to do with me being a therapist. Like they
don't go together. Right.
There's two different roles.
So the expectation for me to show up and you don't show up is confusing.
Yeah, no. I'm going to show up in the role that's assigned to me at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And those that have worked with me will know the role. If your role is to come and sit on my couch and we're going to have that conversation, how I am with you at that time is very different than how I'm with you if we're running a project and I'm the boss. That's what that is.
I completely agree.
So, I just wanted to know how you look at that. But I do think, because I've had a time where I had a colleague of mine, somebody around the area, and they called me because they were going to get ready to do business with a venue, and they knew I had done business with the venue before, and they called and was like, "Hey, Jennifer, I know you did an event there. How were they? Did they treat you right?" Mm-hmm. And I told them the truth.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that's just giving honest feedback.
And I don't know how to. As a person, I'm too transparent.
Yeah, but I don't see nothing wrong. I don't see nothing wrong with that. I think, but see, that's the thing.
So I don't know how to.
Side of that, if you do good business, that's how your business will grow, because people will tell the honest truth, and if the honest truth is good, then you should have nothing to worry about.
Don't have to worry about it. That part.
So yeah. So anyway, Tam, I think this has been a very informative interview. I'm so glad you were able to share your story like this. The fact that you've done all these things and you're not 90 is remarkable. You try
not to look it either.
Look, no, you don't. You not, girl. You still look young, Gary. You still got it. I'm trying to. Are you opening up any more business ventures in the future? Do we have to look forward to anything?
Other than at some point, I would like to transition. I know it's work. I'm gonna test the waters at some point or another later in the future, in some type of emergency center, because I feel like a lot of these children are lost. And then the parents that are parenting today, it's different.
That's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah. So, other than that, I just want to continue to grow my team as a realtor and those that come up under me for mentorship and help them grow their business, because I don't want to keep them at a standstill. My job is to grow them. If I feed and toil them till they become whatever it is, that's my reward.
Yes.
Just, passing it on and being a good realtor to those that utilize and appreciate my services.
Yes. Well, I can testify you are definitely an excellent.
Thank you.
With superior service. I would say luxurious service. Definitely. Answers your phone at all times of the evening with all types of questions. Yes, ma'am. Answers questions and does it with a smile. Never felt like we were bothering you at any given time. Just pleasant. All of that. Didn't wait until the closing and then ran. We couldn't call her again. All of that stuff. So yeah. Now, like I said, she did give very detailed instructions on what to do and what not to do. She was very clear about, listen, this is how we gonna do this. When y'all ready to get y'all stuff in line, you let me know. And so we had a little, come to Jesus meeting with her, but that was necessary for the situation. Everybody don't need to come to Jesus meeting. So
yeah, they do.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
They do? Okay, well, anyway, her come to Jesus meeting was superb. So I think, if you're looking for a realtor, she's the best one that I know, and I know quite a few. The rest of y'all, I love y'all, but she's the best one I know. So this has been just a most enlightening podcast. I hope all of you all were taking notes and getting all this wisdom that was dropped. Again, Tam, thank you for your service, though, for the CPS kids out there. This is a miraculous thing.
I truly appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Yes, this has just been wonderful. Listen, you all like, share, and subscribe, and we will be back to you real soon with the second episode of season 2 with different perspectives. You all take good care. Thank you so much for coming, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.